What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. I hope everybody's having a great day. Guys, as I said, we have a second part to this video here. Confirmed large Martian city found in satellite photo. And I even enhanced more of the photo so we can see more objects. Let's jump into this. Okay, here's the photo here. You guys saw this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to check out this area here. Right here. We went out just a little bit right next to these white spots. We're going to see if there's anything else in there. And the other thing is, we had a few people say, hey, Chris, these are nothing more than compression artifacts. And, you know, that's what I believe they are. Are these people correct? Short answer is no. Wait until you see what I found out that you guys probably won't be too surprised about. And what they're actually doing to these photos to mask these, if you will. Let's get into it. All right, here's the photo here. Now, we've seen these. There's no way around it to me. These are absolutely structures. Look like they might have been decimated. Some of them do not look that bad. And we've seen this here. Down inside here. Okay. Now, if we back out a little bit, and we're going to go over here. Let's go over to the left side of this photo. Was there anything in here? Well, just in this middle part alone. Here. Check this out. Just zoom in. What are we seeing here? Here, which I find really interesting, and I'm going to show you why in a moment. Right here, it appears to have vertical walls standing up. There's one here, 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 and here. But check out this whole area in the center here. Check that out. Now, when you see that, look at the way these are. It's absolutely mind-boggling what's really here. This almost looks like some kind of weird tower. Looks like it's higher than most items in the area. Okay. Again, all in here, which I think is, I find really interesting because you can see a bunch of these things hidden. And one of the reasons why I believe that these are clearly not compression artifacts, because you should see it right here. You don't see any of that. Yeah? Where is it? Compression artifacts don't skip an area. They're in the photo, period. Compression artifacts, guys, are right over the whole photo. It doesn't get picky and choosy. It just doesn't do that, right? Here, let's have a look at the back. This is cool in itself in this area. Looks like we have some sort of tower here. You can see it right there. There's the top part of it. Right there. Look at the structures back here. This to me is amazing. Again, pause this any way you want. You guys know that. And we're going to show you everywhere in between. All in here. I mean, just awesome. You notice how there's like darkened areas down here? That's because it's shadowed. Look at the sun. You can see the line to it right here. Right here. This is shadowing coming like from this arrow right here, this green arrow on the right. We can see the sun's coming from that direction. Everything else seems to be lower in this valley. Okay. Let's go down here. Check this stuff out, guys. Wow. All in this inside of this area. And we're going to black and white this and really bring this out. Okay. Now let's go back over to the blue area, which I loosely call the coast. I don't believe that it's water. Of course not. But it kind of gives you that weird illusion that it is. Okay. So now let's just bring out this real quick. On this area outside here in the blue. And the reason why I was doing this is I wanted to see here if there's any more structures. Meaning, is this all one ground? Let's do this. All right. Notice this piece up here. Or pieces, I should say. Look like more structures out here. So in other words, I don't believe this is water. This structure's here. This one right here. We have other pieces all inside here. You see they come out from the darkened areas, what look like dirt and ground and earth, we'll call it. Not literally earth, but earth, ground. But you can see that. Look at that. It looks like it's an extension, meaning this stuff goes all the way out into this blue area, right? Okay. And you can see it down here as well. Now, I didn't go that far. You can see where I went up to. Because I don't believe there's more of it out there. But there could very well be. Okay? Very faint. You can see a little bit in here. Okay? Were we able to find anything else? You see what looks like almost like things that are being hidden in here, but because of this masking, this is what they're doing. They're blocking out stuff big time. Now, I'm going to black and white this so we don't have these colors fooling our eyes. Okay? Now, check this out. I believe this stuff goes out further, and it actually may go all the way out into this whole blue area. But they were hoping, hey, you see the landmass, you won't zoom into it, so therefore you won't see anything. I believe there's so much more. Again, at the top here, the page, you can see what looks like this weird, good-sized structure, whatever it is, or multiple structures. Okay? And all of these things right into this bluish area, right? Let's keep going. Try to dock it up here to see if there's anything of any value there. Now, let's get into this a little bit more, down to the surface. Now, again, we've got these pieces that are all in a row here. I can show you these, just these little, I don't know if they're round or just smaller structures. I'm not sure what those are. But again, look at the way they are in a row. Almost in a half circle on this side. What look like large walls in here, right next to the edge where this is brown and blue. Right here. You see that? Okay. Just the structures in here are amazing. Now, what I try to do is bring out this a little bit more on this area because there's so much more in here, guys. Wow. I mean, you see the blurring. Look at the blurring in here. This is just crazy how they did this. And you can see the line to it. You can see it cut off right here. Right there. And most of this is actually in like a blur. But check it out. You can see these within this blur. So try to bring it out just a little bit more. Okay. Check this out. This is cool. This is absolutely insane to me. And how cool this really, really is. We can drop down a little bit. We can zoom in a little bit here. Okay. Look in between these structures. All of the pieces here. A lot of this is blurred. And this is what I'm going to get into momentarily. Let me back out here for a moment. I'm going to jump over to the other side just momentarily. Show you more of these structures now. In these areas. It's a little bit more brightened up. This is a little bit more brightened up in here. You can see it was like this. It is now brightened up to bring out more of these objects. I'll go over it slowly. And you can see this. Again, we get these what look like vertical walls, guys. I'm not sure what to make of this right here. Now, it looks like it's next to a large structure to the left of it. But check this out. A vertical wall standing up and coming down. That's what they look like to me. Of course, you guys can always give me your opinion on that. Scoot over a little to the left. And then we're going to go down like this here. Again, pause it any way you like. Have a look at these things, guys. Wow. This whole area, absolutely structures. In my opinion, that's what these are. Okay? And was this same area washed out like the other area, the much larger area? Is that what happened in this whole landmass? We don't know if this here was in water. And these higher areas were actually land. Go back down. And again, I brought up more of the detail, more sharper detail to these. And any place that was dark, we tried to bring out even more so by brightening up the areas to have a better look. Okay, now, question is it possible these are compression artifacts? Let's zoom in and find out. Okay, I want you guys to concentrate. I'm going to zoom way in, and this is a perfect example. Now, notice this object right here. It's white, and it's actually coming up. It looks like it comes up. You can see the white area right about here. But guess what? Look at this darker area we're going to approach. And right here it goes into another white part of it right here. And then back into blur. That's right, folks. Check this out. You have a darkened area here. We have a blurry area here. And in between these blur and darker areas, we actually have the real object showing through. Do you guys see that? Blur here on the right between these two right lines and darkening here on the left side between these two lines. Check this out. You can still see that object. See it right there? It's coming up like here. It almost looks like it's arched a little bit. Coming up. And it still goes through this darker area and through this blur. That's right. They're putting a grid over these like most of them. What they're doing is they're putting these rows of blur. This is the reason why it kind of looks like it has that weird grid pattern, almost a compression artifact kind of look. Remember before, guys, we would look at these things and we'd see what looked like a grid pattern, like they can put their own compression artifacts over it. What happens if you can make a grid pattern, you can drop it over the whole photo itself? But what these grid patterns have is like sections of, it's like every other section is dark and every other section is blur. What would it look like then? So by bringing out the lines with the burn tool, you're bringing it through this blur. Now, of course, the burn tool is just going to make the darker areas that are like every other row, they're going to just be darker. So you got to be very careful about how you do this, right? So we can see blur areas, and then we can see areas not so much. It looks pretty good. Well, within reason, right? But I believe this whole photo, like many photos that they do, they drop a grid over, a compression artifact, something they can make themselves and drop it right over the photo to hide details. We've seen these photos before where they look like they have a grid pattern over it, like, literally like they put their own compression artifacts right across the whole photo, like they could put a grid, you know, like the like that screen-looking grid. They could just pop that right over the whole thing. Why would they do that? The only reason why I believe that they would do that is to hide detail. It distracts the eyes so you can't see it. You get rid of the grid pattern, or at least that screen effect, then you can start to get into the actual anomalies and see those pretty clearly. Now, if you have compression artifacts kind of lay out over on the top of this photo, you need to bring out the other lines that are already underneath this grid pattern or this compression artifact grid type thing. You'll bring those out through the blur and through this grid, and that's the whole thing, right? That's what this is all about. And again, just look at the anomalies here, guys. Without a doubt, in my opinion, absolutely a civilization. And again, we have much more of it here. Check this out. Much, much more. Much, much more. Hidden in between and behind hills and mountains. We can see that. Yep. You can actually see this part sticking up is actually casting a shadow down here, but then the other parts are lighter here. And the parts that are behind and out of the shadows, it seems to be brighter. This seems to be a little bit harder to bring out. Well, there they are. Looks like structures and like even spaces in between. Here's a perfect example of this blurring. Look at this. You can see like the white areas like this right here. Right in the center of that piece is a strip of blur and darker pieces going right through it. This is telling me that this stuff is being manipulated. Now, is it possible these two pieces here in the circles are buried in mud? Is that a possibility? Very good possibility, right? And there you go, guys. Guys, tell me what you think. One of you subs had told me, hey, Chris, you got to look more to the left. And I was already onto it, guys. That's why I said there'd probably be a second part. So we decided to look at that, and I decided to look into that more of the bluish area. I call it the coastline. Of course, it's not really a coastline. I believe that whole area is the same color. And let's say it's not. I'm okay with that, too. My whole thing is that I believe that there's a little bit area where there's more structures extended outward into that blue. And then we have all those structures on the left. And the other thing is I wanted to actually go over it with you guys as far as compression artifacts, or is it something that's a manufactured grid that they're putting over it to blur and hide the details? Again, if you look at the squares, you go, oh, are those, let me just zoom in. Oh, and you can see how it distorts and really comes apart. All of a sudden, those, what look like structures become like a bunch of tiny squares everywhere. Wait a minute. I know what compression artifacts. They're literally squares all lined up. That's what they are. They're all completely lined up everywhere in the photo. Not in some spots here, some spots here. No, compression artifacts are throughout the whole photo, and you do not see that. What you see is blurring streaks and darker streaks. What's up with that? So I think they have a computer that has an algorithm that it can literally just go over the whole photo and dress over or put an overlay to try to hide these details. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, it's the best proof I've seen and evidence of a Martian civilization that's probably been long since past, and maybe there are some survivors still on the planet, living still within these structures or underground. You guys, as always, drop your comments down below. Give me your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. Definitely. That's the highlight of doing these videos. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Please like and share. Always appreciate it, guys. You know that. And don't forget to give the video a thumbs up so YouTube will share it. Anyway, guys, got some cool stuff coming up, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.